Today is February 27th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 steps and 12 traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are on Chapter 4, We Agnostics. We'll read page 46. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 6. We will be reading page 69, and I believe we're finishing the 12 and 12. It's either the Big Book or the 12 and 12 today. I can't remember. And then, of course, we'll read the 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this morning, my friends. It's Friday. We made it through another week, but the nice thing is we've got the one day at a time kind of program. And I woke up sober today, breath in my lungs. I was able to say a prayer, and I'm able to do this morning, another day. So what a blessing it is to be alive and sober. And with that, let's get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from yesterday's reading, we were talking about how certain prejudices might make us bristle when we hear the word God, right? Especially when we're first coming into recovery and everything, and then we hear this whole spiritual stuff, and that's going to conjure up a bunch of things in us, or it could potentially. And yesterday we were talking about how oftentimes we might go back and forth. You know, some people believe that believing in a higher power is cowardly or weak, and then other times we might look up at the starlit skies and say, who then made all this? There was a feeling of awe and wonder, but it was fleeting and soon lost. So we are going to continue the page 46. We're reading the second and third paragraph. Yes, we of agnostic temperament have had these thoughts and experiences. Let us make haste to reassure you. We found that as soon as we were able to lay aside prejudice and express even a willingness to believe in a power greater than ourselves, we commenced to get great results. Even though it was impossible for any of us to fully define or comprehend that power, which is God. Much to our relief, we discovered we did not need to consider another's conception of God. Our own conception, however inadequate, was sufficient to make the approach and to effect a contact with Him. As soon as we admitted the possible existence of a creative intelligence, a spirit of the universe underlying the totality of things, we began to be possessed of a new sense of power and direction, provided we took other simple steps. We found that God does not make too hard terms with those who seek Him. To us, the realm of the Spirit is broad, roomy, all-inclusive, never exclusive or forbidding to those who earnestly seek. It is open, we believe, to all men. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. We are on page 69 today, but man, I just love that they spend so much time talking about how this is a lifetime step. That all we need to do is be willing to make progress in certain areas. That we're never going to 100% get this one right. But if we keep moving forward toward that North Star of these perfect ideals, steps 2 through 12, we're making progress, keeping that open mind instead of closing off saying, I'll never give that up. So let's go ahead and finish off the chapter. This is, again, page 69. Looking again at those defects, we are still unwilling to give up. We ought to erase the hard and fast lines that we have drawn. Perhaps we shall be obliged in some cases to still say, this I can't give up yet. But we should not say to ourselves, this I will never give up. Let's dispose of what appears to be a hazardous open end we have left. It is suggested that we ought to become entirely willing to aim toward perfection. We note that some delay, however, might be pardoned. That word, in the mind of a rationalizing alcoholic, could certainly be given a long-term meaning. He could say, how very easy. Sure, I'll head toward perfection, but I'm certainly not going to hurry any. Maybe I can postpone dealing with some of my problems indefinitely. Of course, this won't do. such a bluffing of oneself will have to go the way of many another pleasant rationalization. At the very least, we shall have to come to grips with some of our worst character defects and take action toward their removal as quickly as we can. The moment we say no, never, our minds close against the grace of God. Delay is dangerous, and rebellion may be fatal. This is the exact point at which we abandon limited objectives and move toward God's will for us. "24 hours a day, February 27th. AA thought for the day. When we came into AA, the first thing we did was admit that we couldn't do anything about our drinking. We admitted that alcohol had us licked and that we were helpless against it. We could never decide whether or not to take a drink. We always took the drink. And since we couldn't do anything about it ourselves, we put our whole drinking problem into the hands of God. We turned the whole thing over to that power greater than ourselves, and we have nothing more to do about it except to trust God to take care of the problem for us. Have I done this honestly and fully?" Meditation for the day. This is the time for my spirit to touch the Spirit of God. I know that the feeling of the Spirit touch is more important than all the sensations of material things. I must seek a silence of spirit touching with God. Just a moment's contact and all the fever of life leaves me. Then I am well, whole, calm, and able to rise and minister to others. God's touch is a potent healer. I must feel that touch and sense God's presence. Prayer for the day. I pray that the fever of resentment, worry, and fear may melt into nothingness. I pray that health, joy, peace, and serenity may take its place. Daily Reflection, February 27th. A unique stability. Where does AA get its direction? These practical folk then read tradition 2 and learn the sole authority in AA is a loving God as he may express himself in the group conscience. The elder statesman is one who sees the wisdom of the group's decision, who holds no resentment over his reduced status, whose judgment, fortified by considerable experience, is sound, and who is willing to sit quietly on the sidelines, patiently awaiting developments. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 132 and 135. Into the fabric of recovery from alcoholism are woven the 12 steps and 12 traditions. As my recovery progressed, I realized that the new mantle was tailor-made for me. The elders of the group gently offered suggestions when change seemed impossible. Everyone's shared experiences became the substance for treasured friendships. I know that the fellowship is ready and equipped to aid each suffering alcoholic at all crossroads in life. In a world beset by many problems, I find this assurance a unique stability. I cherish the gift of sobriety. I offer God my gratitude for the strength I receive in a fellowship that truly exists for the good of all members. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading, and man, some good stuff. It's always so hard. It's probably the greatest challenge is trying to pick one or two to talk about within the confines of like a minute or two, right? Which is probably why I was so long-winded sometimes. But anyway, real quick about the big book. I love that they talk about, I believe it's in the big book, talking about prejudices, right? I had my own prejudices of my higher power. And I'm not exactly sure the origins of them, but it doesn't matter. I'll just tell you what they were. I was of the mind that my higher power would leave me. If I wasn't a good boy, if I didn't do X, Y, and Z, he would abandon me. He'd be mad at me. He would punish me. And I wouldn't feel his presence for a long, long time. That was my previous conception of my higher power, but through time and doing the steps and being sober a couple 24 hours and listening to others in the fellowship and having a spiritual awakening over time, my conception of my higher power has changed. My higher power brings hope and healing. And I love in the big book, the prodigal son story, where the father, even though the son squandered his life and his inheritance and everything, the father welcomes his son back with open arms and celebrates. It's kind of how I look at my higher power. That he's with me, that he realizes I'm going to stumble sometimes. But kind of like what the 12 and 12 said, if I just keep heading toward that North Star, keep striving for a life of honesty and integrity and peace. Even though I'm going to stumble sometimes, even though I'll be at an army crawl or a baby crawl at times, I still feel like I'm growing spiritually. And the fruits, man, the fruits are so worth it. The fruits of sobriety are incredible. And finally, the last line in the 24 hours a day, I pray that the fever of resentment, worry, and fear may melt into nothingness. I pray that health, joy, peace, and serenity may take its place. I am guilty of a lot of times just focusing, even in my prayers, on asking God to remove my difficulties. But I don't really mention that once these difficulties are removed, there's a vacuum, right? So I'm trying these days to say, God, please remove my fear and replace it with serenity. Put something positive in its place. It's not so that I'll feel better. It's that through me, you can work in the lives of others, that I can be of service to others. Instead of being insecure, help me to be at peace. Instead of stress, help me to have joy. Instead of looking for the bad and the evil and all the things negative in the world, help me to look for the positives today, just this set of 24 hours. And I love this 7-step prayer. God, I pray that you would have all of me, good and bad. And I pray that you now remove from me every single defective character. And then when I say that, I try to say, again, those positive attributes, and grant me these things so that I can be of service to others. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. I don't know much in this life, but I do know a couple things that are almost certain to me about my higher power's will for my life. Never heard him audibly say, Rob, here's what I want you to do. But I have had those nudges. But one of the things I know for sure is that my higher power doesn't want me to drink today. And my higher power wants me to be of service to those around me. I do know that. And what a gift it is to be sober today. And my friend, if you are sober today, you're a miracle. And I hope you realize that you have a unique gift to help the other suffering alcoholics out there that are dying by the thousands, hundreds of thousands, alcoholics and addicts. We can help them in a way that nobody else can. And if you're not sober today, I hope you know that you're worthy of recovery. And today could be the very first day, January 27, 2026, of your brand new life, and you don't have to do it alone. I pray that you get the help that you need today. This is a we program. We're in this together. And as always, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect, denomination, or organization. I'm just a drunk. Obviously, I'm not a professional narrator. I just love doing this. And I love hearing from you guys and your sober stories, whether it's a comment on Spotify or an email just talking about your stories or where you're from and how long you've been sober. It bolsters my faith. And it really does help me. And as I've said many times, you all listening are helping me more than I'm helping you. This beautiful accountability has been such a blessing in my life. I want to wake up at 3 a.m. and do this. I'm excited to do this every morning. Trust me, you're helping me more than I'm helping you. But one thing you can do, if you feel so inclined, is just share the show. I always feel funny. I don't promote the show or anything like that. I don't have any social media accounts to promote episodes or anything like that. And I kind of want to avoid that as best I can. But one of the greatest things you can do is just share the show with somebody else. But even if you don't, that's okay. I just appreciate you listening. It really is an honor to be here. And if we're given another set of 24 hours, my friends, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.